fix to you? And obviously, you immigrated, became a citizen. How difficult a process was that for you? What is the fix? Like, what do you do?
It was a horribly difficult process, and I had my daughter's American. That is, she's third generation American.
Okay.
So, in my mind, I never imagined that I was gonna migrate to the United States. That wasn't in the cards for me in my mind. But then, things went down south, so I had to look for options. The process was not easy at all. I had a legitimate claim to it, and it was not easy. There's the immigration system itself is broken in a lot of ways. People that have something to offer the United States. I mean, I've spoken to Congress, congressional committees, and stuff like that in the United States, but my immigration process lasted 2 years, and
Which is probably fast by the average.
it was pretty long and arduous, and I have had a lot of questions asked several times of me, and a lot of stuff happened that was pretty demoralizing for somebody going through that
Yeah.
process, specifically seeing other people from other countries getting a free pass, right? Or people from my own country coming through illegally and figuring out a regulatory path later on. So it's wild. There's definitely this notion that a lot of people have that once you immigrate into the United States as a Mexican, you're like against immigration. You turn into like, yeah, like I'm in the U.S. now. Close the border. Needed, like,
Screw you
which
guys.
is I get that. I get that. I get that feeling, and but if you look at the reality of as far as what people are supporting when it comes to illegal immigration, I understand the whole aspect of, hey, there's no such thing as illegal immigration. We're all legal, no borders and all that. I get that, but realistically, when you talk about open borders or like, just fucking let them through, they're all going to get taxed anyway. So you're supporting a criminal enterprise that is like nothing the world has ever seen before. You're supporting murderers. You're supporting fucking abductors. You're supporting a clear terrorist organizations on the border when you speak about that. And you're also supporting an industry and a process that claims and eats people on that are on their way up to the border through some of these smuggling routes. You can't be a woman going through all that process and not be raped. And this is what people support. Come on, just And when I speak against this type of immigration, this is what I speak up against: the people that are making money hand over fist with humanity and how they treat them, and are in a lot of ways turning a lot of these people into slaves. And it's fascinating that the certain political spectrum in the United States defends this. It's a weird. It's like speaking as an immigrant myself, because I'm an immigrant. I went
Right.
through my immigration process during the election of Donald Trump. So
Super easy.
super easy. No, nobody yelled anything at me. Nobody felt emboldened to call me a bunch of racial stuff, and uh,
It's open
open
arms.
arms. But at the end of it, um, I still came to this country without a lot, uh, and I worked as soon as I could, and I could tell you that I'm an immigrant. I'm hungry. I have this worth ethic on my end. Like I came here with nothing, and now I have a company with 3 employees. So it's if you work for it, it's here. Um, if you do the work, it's here. And that doesn't mean I've forgotten about where I'm from or where I come from. Like, I have a few kids that we're sponsoring as far as their professional fighting careers in Mexico right now.
That's awesome.
We've paid for eye operations and schooling of a few of the orphans left behind from the conflicts that I was a part of. Not just on the side of former children of law enforcement, people that I work with, but also some of the criminals that I went after. I have a podcast where I speak to people constantly that were instrumental in my formation, and I'm sharing them with other people now. From my former boss, Lisa Ola, to Conejo, the guy the guy we arrested on murder charges in Tijuana and deported back to the United States, which was funny as hell, to now be friends with, and our kids know each other. It's wild. But I'm living proof that the immigration system can work for some, and there are good people that want to come to this country and make a difference and figure things out. But I'm also an example of how it's really flawed, and how there's these unrealistic standards of what it takes to come to this country and be a productive citizen here, and how some people aren't coming here for the right reasons, I guess, is what I would say. I have had the privilege of sharing my experiences and some of the training I do with high-level government officials in the U.S. And in Mexico. And I love both countries. And I am a son of Mexico, but I'm an adopted son of the United States now. So I'm trying to figure out how to make things better on both sides. That puts me in a weird position, because realistically, politically right now, both of those countries are enemies.
That's crazy.
So,
and I don't know how you fix that. You tie economically, like as you talked about before, the resources between the two. That's your fix, but how do you get to that point when everything is politicized based on one party's for or against, and they're going to weaponize basically humanity, right, for stirring the pot for a broad brush look
alternative media helps. Speaking about it helps. I've been on some of the biggest podcasts on the planet a few times, and spoke about it, putting people again, things that people don't realize about some of these things. I'm not only putting my reputation on the line, I'm also putting my life on the line speaking about some of these things. Yep. And every now and then, people online can be horrible. The best piece of advice I ever had was don't read the comment section. Joe told me that one. But they tell me, well, Ed, like, if you're such a badass, like, why'd you leave? Why'd you flee? Like, why'd you stay down there and fight? All the shit you talk about. Well, those that can't do teach, or those that can't fight anymore will speak about it, I guess. I haven't forgotten the people that I used to work with. I haven't forgotten the problems that I faced. I haven't forgotten some of the bullshit the government did down there. And if anything, I am still trying to figure out how to fight in different ways for the place that I came out of. And that doesn't mean that my life is not in danger anymore.